So just to start off at the very basics of forgiveness, I like to start with the forgiveness definition that I use. What K. Bradford Brown said is that forgiveness is the absolute refusal to hold ill will against someone for what they did or didn't do. I'll say it again because it's quite long. Forgiveness is the absolute refusal to hold ill will against someone for what they did or didn't do. And the best way to describe it is to think about all the little grievances that we carry every day and that we collect up against our loved ones and our not so loved ones. So these are little things, and all they really represent, these grievances, are if this were different, if you were different, then I'd be happy. If you could just be a bit more like that, or a bit less like that, or if you could just do that without me having to ask, or if you could just stop doing that. And so we gather these grievances up, and then they become a little pile that we're carrying around with ourselves. And you might find that you're carrying quite a lot over the years. Things build up, and you end up carrying quite a lot of ill will against someone for what they did and for what they didn't do. And so the refusal, the absolute refusal, looks like this. So I'm the one choosing to let go of my ill will. I'm choosing to stop wanting it to have been different. It doesn't mean that I might not still need to go to court because of that. Or I might need to write a letter because of that. Or we might need to separate. I might need to not see you again. Or there may be something else that needs to happen. Forgiveness is not about what happens next. Forgiveness is about what you decide to hold and harbor in your heart. So if you're wondering why you might feel depressed, or like old issues keep coming up, or it seems like you keep having that person turn up in your life, even though they're a different that person, but they remind you of the other one, it's usually because some of this is still unhealed in your heart. And of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Unless you actually do something about it, unless you take the time to do something about it. Imagine how much time you spend on your phone making messages and maybe posting things on Instagram or Facebook, or sharing stories or exciting things or your opinions, because being out there takes the attention away from what the pain might still be that you're holding in your heart, maybe from a really long time ago. The great news is, although you can't really change the past, you can deal with it in a way that means that eventually there's nothing left that you haven't dealt with. And can you imagine how free and light your heart will be? And it doesn't mean that then members of parliament or the weather or that really annoying person in your life won't keep annoying you, but it just means that you keep doing your work. Forgiveness is a practice. It's not a one-off. It's not like we say, I've done yoga, and meant that we've done all the yoga we're ever going to do in our lives. It's a practice. You do it regularly, just like meditation. Or I think forgiveness is probably the most like going to the hygienist. No offense to hygienists, but for me, it's not pleasant. I go because I know it's good for my teeth. They clean things off that I'm not able to clean off by myself, and then I have sparkly gnashes. So this is why I teach about forgiveness as a practice. I talk about it as a secular ethics practice, which means if you're not even religious, then it matters to your mental health and your emotional health. If you are a person who has a spiritual practice or a tradition, or if you're spiritual but not religious, forgiveness is a master spiritual practice, because it's the ultimate in letting go. It really is the freedom of your heart. And then when your heart is free, it's open and available to meet the needs of the world. And I don't know about you, but I think the world is in quite dire need of not just our forgiveness, but what flows once you've done your forgiveness work, which is love.